First contact. The desolate expanse of Kepler 186 as stretched out before Captain Lena Reeves as she guided her small survey ship towards the planet's rocky surface. Swirling storms of red dust obscured much of the landscape, but occasional breaks in the tempest revealed a barren, rust-colored world. Lena's mission was straightforward: conduct a preliminary survey of this distant exoplanet, gathering data on its composition and potential for future colonization. It was lonely work, but after 5 years in the Interstellar Survey Corps, she had grown accustomed to the solitude of deep space exploration. As her ship descended through the turbulent atmosphere, a proximity alert blared through the cockpit. Lena's eyes darted to the sensor readouts, her heart rate spiking. "That's impossible," she muttered, double-checking the readings. The scanners had detected a large metallic object on the planet's surface, one that was decidedly not natural. Fighting against the buffeting winds, Lena adjusted her course to investigate. As she drew closer, the dust clouds parted to reveal a sight that took her breath away. There, half buried in the red soil, lay the unmistakable form of a spacecraft. Its sleek, silver hull was marred by scorch marks and impact damage, but its otherworldly design left no doubt. This was not of human origin. "Control, are you receiving this?" Lena transmitted, her voice tight with excitement and disbelief. But only static answered her call. The planet's magnetic field was interfering with long-range communications. She was on her own. With practiced precision, Lena set her ship down a safe distance from the crash site. Her mind raced as she donned her protective suit and rammed through safety protocols. First contact, the dream of every explorer and the nightmare of every diplomat. And here she was, about to step into history. The alien craft loomed before her as Lena approached on foot, had helmet's heads-up display scanning for any signs of radiation or biological hazards. So far, nothing dangerous registered. The ship's design was unlike anything in humanity's database, all smooth curves and iridescent materials that seemed to shift color as she moved. A gash in the hull provided an entry point, and Lena hesitated only a moment before climbing inside. The interior was dark, lit only by the occasional spark from damaged systems. Strange symbols adorned the walls, and the layout defied human logic. But it was the sound that caught her attention, a faint, rhythmic noise coming from deeper within the ship. Following the sound, Lena made her way through twisting corridors until she reached what appeared to be the main control room. There, slumped in a chair that seemed to mold itself to its occupant, was the source of the noise. An alien. The being before her was humanoid, but distinctly non-human. Its skin was a pale lavender, with intricate patterns that seemed to pulse with an inner light. Instead of hair, delicate tendrils flowed from its head, currently lying limp and lifeless. The sound Lena had heard was its labored breathing. For a moment, Lena stood frozen, her training warring with her instincts. The alien was clearly injured, possibly dying, but touching it could be dangerous. Incompatible biology, unknown pathogens, diplomatic incidents. Yet as she watched the alien's chest rise and fall with increasing difficulty, Lena made her decision. "Hey there," she said softly, approaching slowly. "I'm here to help. Can you understand me?" The alien's eyes snapped open, revealing irises of swirling silver. It recoiled at the sight of Lena, a burst of musical tones emanating from what she assumed was its mouth. The universal translator in Lena's suit struggled to process the sounds, but eventually produced a rough approximation. "Who? What are you? Stay back." Lena raised her hands in a universal gesture of peace. "I'm human. My name is Lena. I'm an explorer, and I found your ship. You're hurt. I want to help." The alien's silver eyes darted around the damaged control room, then back to Lena. After a moment, it slumped back in its chair, either from exhaustion or acceptance. "I am Zan," it managed, the translator still struggling. "Emissary of the Liriani Concordat. My ship, attacked." Lena's mind reeled at the implications. Not only had she made first contact, but she'd stumbled upon some sort of interstellar conflict. Attacked by whom? She asked, even as she began to examine Zar-En's injuries. The Krell, Zar-En replied, wincing as Lina's gloved hands probed a wound on its torso. They seek to prevent. The Alliance must warn my people. Easy now, Lena soothed, applying a universal med seal to the worst of the injuries. You're in no shape to warn anyone right now. Let's focus on getting you stable, then we can figure out our next move. As she worked, Lena's mind raced with questions. Who were the Liriani? Who were the Krell? What alliance was Zar-En talking about? But those would have to wait. Right now, her priority was saving this alien's life and somehow getting them both off this desolate rock. Over the next few hours, Lena shuttled between her ship and the crash site, bringing medical supplies and emergency rations. She wasn't sure if the alien could consume human food, but it was better than nothing. All the while, she attempted to repair her long-range communications, hoping to alert Earth to this monumental discovery. As the planet's weak sun began to set, casting long shadows across the barren landscape, Lena made a difficult decision. The alien craft was beyond repair, and Zar-En's condition was deteriorating despite her best efforts. They needed to leave. Zar-En, she said, rousing the alien from a fitful sleep. My ship isn't designed for two, but I think we can make it work. We need to go. It's not safe here, and you need better medical attention than I can provide. The alien's silver eyes fixed on her, and Lena felt a strange sensation, as if Zar-En was looking into her very soul. Finally, it nodded. You are kind, human Lena. I will trust you. With great care, Lena helped Zar-En to its feet. The alien was surprisingly light, its body seeming almost hollow. As they made their way slowly towards Lena's ship, the wind picked up, whipping red dust around them in a frenzy. Looks like a storm's coming, Lena muttered, quickening their pace as much as Zar-En's injuries would allow. Let's hope it covers our tracks. Just as they reached the ship, a deep thrumming filled the air. Lena looked up to see a massive shape emerging from the clouds, a ship easily 10 times the size of her own. Its hull was dark and angular, bristling with what could only be weapons. The Krell, Zar-En whispered, fear evident even through the translator. They found us. Lena's heart pounded as she helped Zar-En into her ship's small cabin. There was no time for a proper pre-flight check. She strapped herself in and fired up the engines, praying they would have enough power to break atmosphere. As the ship lifted off, the massive Krell vessel opened fire. Energy bolts sizzled past, superheating the air and leaving trails of plasma in their wake. Lena's hands flew over the controls, jinking and weaving to avoid the barrage as they climbed higher. Zar-En slumped in the seat beside her, the strain of their escape taking its toll. If they capture me, it said weakly, all will be lost. The Alliance. Not going to happen, Lena grunted, pushing the engines to their limit. The ship shuddered as they hit the upper atmosphere, alarms blaring as the hull temperature skyrocketed. A lucky shot from the Krell ship grazed their starboard engine, sending them into a wild spin. Lena fought the controls, her vision blurring as G-forces threatened to overwhelm her. With a final, desperate thrust, they broke free of the planet's gravity well. The pursuing ship fell behind as Lena's smaller, more agile craft accelerated to light speed. They weren't safe yet, not by a long shot, but they had bought themselves some time. As the adrenaline began to fade, Lena looked over at her alien passenger. Zar-En's eyes were closed, its breathing shallow but steady. She reached out and gently touched its arm, marveling at the strange texture of its skin. Don't worry, she said softly. I'll get you somewhere safe. And then we'll figure out how to stop a war. As her ship hurtled through the vastness of space, Lena Rees felt the weight of history settling upon her shoulders. She had set out to explore a barren world, and instead found herself thrust into the middle of an interstellar conflict. With an injured alien emissary as her only ally, she now faced a challenge greater than any human had encountered before. But as she plotted a course for the nearest human outpost, Lena allowed herself a small smile. This was why she had become an explorer, to push the boundaries of human experience, to encounter the unknown. And now, for better or worse, she was about to introduce humanity to a much larger, more complex universe than anyone had ever imagined. The adventure was only beginning. Unlikely alliance. The cramped confines of Lena's survey ship hummed with tension as they hurtled through space. It had been 3 days since their narrow escape from Kepler 186f, and Zar-N's condition had stabilized, though the alien remained weak. Lena divided her time between tending to her unexpected passenger and frantically trying to establish contact with the nearest human outpost. As she worked to boost her communication array's signal strength, Lena couldn't help but steal glances at Zar-N. The alien's iridescent skin seemed to shimmer even in the dim light of the cabin, and those silver eyes held depths she couldn't begin to fathom. "You have questions," Zar-N said suddenly, startling Lena. The translator's rendition of the alien's musical language was improving, but still sounded slightly off. Lena nodded, setting aside her tools. "More than I can count, but I don't want to overwhelm you while you're recovering." Zar-N made a gesture that might have been a shrug. "Our journey is long, and I am unable to assist with your ship's functions. Perhaps conversation will pass the time and increase our mutual understanding." "All right," Lena agreed, settling into the co-pilot's chair. "Let's start with the basics. You mentioned you were an emissary. What exactly does that mean?" Zar-N's tendrils rippled in what Lena was beginning to recognize as a sign of contemplation. "I am a diplomat, chosen to represent my people, the Lyriani, in negotiations with other spacefaring species. My mission was to broker an alliance between several civilizations in our sector of the galaxy. And the Krell, the ones who attacked you, they're against this alliance," Lena prompted. "Correct," Zar-N confirmed. "The Krell are a militaristic species that views all other forms of life as potential threats or resources to be exploited. They fear that an alliance would challenge their dominance." Lena absorbed this information, her mind racing with the implications. So there are multiple alien civilizations out there engaged in complex interstellar politics, and humanity has been completely unaware of all of it. "Your species is young," Zar-N said, not unkindly. "Many civilizations pass through a period of isolation before joining the broader galactic community. Though I must admit, your level of technological development is impressive for your age." "Thanks, I think," Lena replied with a wry smile. "So, what happens now? I'm taking us to a human outpost, but I have no idea how my people will react to all this." Zar-N's expression shifted to one Lena interpreted as concern. "I must complete my mission. The alliance is crucial for maintaining peace in our sector. Without it, the Krell will continue to expand their influence, and more species will suffer." Lena nodded slowly. "I want to help, but I'm just one person. I don't have the authority to commit humanity to an interstellar alliance." "Perhaps not," Zar-N agreed, "but you have already done more than you know. By saving my life, you have demonstrated the potential of your species. If humans are willing to aid even unknown beings, you may be valuable allies indeed." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden blaring of alarms. Lena spun to face the control panel, her heart racing. "Proximity alert," she explained to Zar-N. "Something's approaching fast." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a sleek vessel rapidly closing in on their position. Its design was clearly alien, but different from both Zar-N's ship and the Krell vessel they had encountered. "Lyriani," Zar-N breathed, a mix of relief and apprehension in its voice. "A rescue ship. They must have detected my distress beacon." Lena's hands hovered over the controls, unsure whether to attempt evasive maneuvers or allow the ship to approach. "Are they friendly?" "To me, yes," Zar-N replied. "To you, I am uncertain. Our people have no knowledge of humans. They may view you as a threat or as my captor." Before Lena could respond, a beam of energy enveloped their ship. She felt a moment of weightlessness, and then the disorienting sensation of being somewhere else entirely. As her vision cleared, she realized they were no longer in her small survey vessel, but in a vast, gleaming docking bay. Figures were approaching, aliens similar in appearance to Zar-Ain, but clad in what appeared to be ceremonial armor. They moved with a fluid grace that made Lena feel clumsy by comparison. "Let me handle this," Zar-Ain said quietly. "Stay calm, and do not make any sudden movements." The Liriani boarding parties surrounded them, leveling strange, organic-looking weapons at Lena. One of them stepped forward, addressing Zar-Ain in their musical language. The conversation was too rapid for Lena's translator to keep up, but she could sense the tension in the air. Finally, Zar-Ain turned to her. "I have explained our situation. They are cautiously grateful for your assistance, but wary of your presence. We are to be escorted to the ship's command center for further questioning." Lena nodded, trying to project an air of calm she didn't entirely feel. As they were led through the twisting corridors of the Liriani ship, she marveled at its construction. Everything seemed to be a seamless blend of technology and organic material, pulsing with an inner life of its own. The command center was a vast, dome-shaped room, filled with holographic displays and bustling with activity. At its center stood a Liriani who radiated authority, clearly the ship's captain. What followed was an intense interrogation, with Zar-Ain translating between Lena and the captain. Lena recounted the events on Kepler 186F, her rescue of Zar-Ain, and their subsequent escape from the Krell. She emphasized humanity's peaceful intentions and her personal desire to help. As the questioning wore on, Lena could sense a shift in the room's atmosphere. The initial suspicion began to give way to curiosity and even a grudging respect. Finally, the captain addressed Lena directly, Zar-Ain translating. "Human Lena Rees, your actions have placed us in an unprecedented situation. By saving our emissary, you have rendered a great service to the Liriani people, yet your very existence presents us with a diplomatic quandary." Lena straightened, meeting the captain's gaze. "I understand this is complicated, but I believe this could be an opportunity. Humanity has long wondered if we're alone in the universe. Now we know we're not, and we have a chance to join a community of spacefaring civilizations. I may not speak for all of my people, but I'm willing to act as an intermediary to help build understanding between us." The captain conferred briefly with other Liriani officials before responding. "Your offer is appreciated, Lena Reeves. However, the situation remains delicate. The alliance Zar-Ain was meant to negotiate is crucial for the stability of our sector, and the Krell threat looms large. We cannot simply return you to your people with knowledge of our existence without proper protocols in place." Lena's heart sank, but she pushed on. "Then let me prove humanity's worth. Allow me to continue assisting Zar-Ain in this mission. I may not be a diplomat, but I'm an explorer, trained to adapt to new situations and bridge gaps between cultures. Let me help secure this alliance, and in doing so, pave the way for humanity's introduction to the galactic community." A ripple of musical tones swept through the command center as the Liriani discussed this proposal. Zar-Ain placed a gentle hand on Lena's arm, its silver eyes shimmering with an emotion she couldn't quite identify. "You continue to surprise me, Lena Reeves," the alien said softly. "Few would volunteer to thrust themselves into an interstellar conflict, especially on behalf of beings they've only just met." Lena managed a small smile. "Well, I didn't become an explorer to play it safe. And something tells me this alliance of yours might be humanity's best chance at a peaceful entry into a much larger universe." After what felt like an eternity, the captain addressed them again. "We have reached a decision. Lena Rees, you will be allowed to accompany Zar-Ain as an observer and auxiliary diplomat as we attempt to salvage the alliance negotiations. However, you will be bound by our protocols and must agree to certain restrictions on your communications with your own people until proper first contact procedures can be established. Lena nodded solemnly. I understand and agree to your terms. Very well, the captain said. We depart for the neutral meeting grounds immediately. Zar-En, you and the human will be briefed on the current diplomatic situation. We must make up for lost time. As they were escorted to their quarters, Lena felt a whirlwind of emotions, excitement, apprehension, and a profound sense of responsibility. She had set out to explore a single planet and now found herself an impromptu ambassador for all of humanity. Zar-En sensed her turbulent thoughts. You have taken on a great burden, Lena Reeves, but know that you do not bear it alone. Whatever comes, we face it together, human and Liriani united in purpose. Lena took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. Together then, let's go save the galaxy. As the Liriani ship accelerated to speeds Lena had only dreamed of, she gazed out at the star-streaked void. Somewhere out there, the fate of multiple civilizations hung in the balance. And beyond that, Earth waited, blissfully unaware of the cosmic drama unfolding. Lena silently vowed to do everything in her power to ensure that when humanity finally took its place among the stars, it would be as partners in peace, not pawns in an interstellar war. The path ahead was uncertain, but for the first time since this adventure began, Lena felt a spark of true hope for the future. The unlikely alliance between a human explorer and an alien diplomat was just the beginning. Together, they would face challenges beyond imagination, and in doing so, perhaps change the course of galactic history. Looming threat. The Liriani diplomatic vessel, Harmony of Spheres, glided through the cosmos with a grace that belied its immense size. In her quarters, Lena Reeves pored over holographic displays, absorbing as much information as she could about the complex political landscape she had been thrust into. It had been 2 weeks since she'd agreed to join Zar-En's mission, and every day brought new wonders and challenges. The Liriani had provided her with a neural interface that allowed for instantaneous translation and faster absorption of data. Even so, the sheer volume of information was overwhelming. A chime at her door interrupted her studies. Enter, Lena called, and the organic-looking portal spiraled open to reveal Zar-En. How goes your research, Lena Reeves? The alien diplomat asked, gliding into the room with fluid grace. Lena sighed, running a hand through her hair. It's a lot. I feel like I'm back in school, cramming for the most important exam of my life, and the stakes are just a bit higher than a failing grade. Zar-En's tendrils rippled in what Lena now recognized as amusement. You've made remarkable progress. Your adaptability continues to impress both myself and the Liriani High Command. Thanks, Lena replied with a wry smile. I just hope it's enough. We're due to arrive at the neutral meeting grounds soon, right? Indeed, Zar-En confirmed. We will reach the station orbiting Nexus Prime within the next solar cycle. There, we will meet with representatives from the other species interested in joining our alliance. Lena nodded, pulling up a holographic display of the alien races they would be encountering. There were the Volux, a silicon-based species that communicated through bioluminescence, the Kfar, methane breathers with a hive-mind social structure, and the Zanabi, energy beings that existed in a state of quantum superposition. And you're sure they'll accept my presence? Len asked, not for the first time. Humanity isn't exactly part of the original plan. Your presence will be unconventional, Zar-En admitted, but it may also prove to be an advantage. A new perspective, unburdened by old grudges and alliances, could be just what we need to bridge the gaps between our peoples. Before Lena could respond, an alarm blared through the ship. Red light pulsed along the organic walls, and Lena felt a surge of adrenaline. What's happening? She asked, already moving towards the door. Zar-En's expression was grim. We're under attack. The Krell have found us. They raced to the command center, the ship shuddering under enemy fire. The captain was barking orders in rapid-fire Liriani, holographic displays showing the positions of multiple Krell warships surrounding them. How did they find us? Lina demanded as she and Za-En took up positions at a tactical station. Unknown, the captain replied through the neural translator. But their attack pattern suggests they were lying in wait. They must have predicted our course to the neutral zone. Lina's mind raced. Is it possible there's a leak? Someone feeding the Krell information? Za-En's tendrils writhed in distress. The implication is disturbing, but we cannot discount the possibility. Another blast rocked the ship, and warning lights flashed across the displays. Hull breach on Deck 7. An officer called out. Containment fields holding, but we can't take much more of this. The captain's voice cut through the chaos. Prepare for emergency jump. We cannot allow the Krell to capture this vessel or its occupants. Lina felt a moment of vertigo as the ship's exotic matter drive spooled up. Space seemed to twist around them, and suddenly they were elsewhere. A star system Lina didn't recognize, with a pale blue gas giant dominating the view. Status report, the captain demanded. Drive is functional but strained, came the response. We've suffered significant damage to our outer hull and weapons systems. Life support is stable. Za-En turned to Lina, its silver eyes filled with worry. This is a serious setback. If we cannot make it to the neutral zone in time, the other species may abandon the alliance talks altogether. Lina's mind whirred with possibilities. Can we send a message? Let them know what happened. The captain shook his head. Too risky. Any transmission could be intercepted by the Krell. We must assume they are still hunting us. A tense silence fell over the command center. Lina could feel the weight of expectation pressing down on her. She was just one human, in way over her head, but these aliens were looking to her for ideas. Okay, she said, taking a deep breath. We need to think outside the box. The Krell are expecting us to head straight for the neutral zone, right? So what if we don't? What if we go somewhere they'd never expect? Za-En's tendrils twitched with interest. What do you propose? Lina pulled up a galactic map on her console. Here, she said, pointing to a system near the edge of charted space. It's a protectorate of the Xanabi. The Krell wouldn't dare attack there directly, and the Xanabi's quantum nature might make it harder for spies to operate. The captain studied the map, his alien features unreadable to Lina. Finally, he nodded. It is unconventional, but perhaps that is what we need. Plot a course, be prepared for evasive maneuvers. We cannot assume the Krell have lost our trail entirely. As the crew sprang into action, Za-En pulled Lina aside. Your quick thinking may have saved us, Lina Reeves. But I fear this attack is just the beginning. The Krell grow bolder, and if there truly is a traitor among the Alliance races, then we're in even more danger than we thought, Lina finished grimly. We need to flush out this spy, and fast. Over the next several days, as the harmony of spheres limped towards the Xanabi Protectorate, Lina and Za-En worked tirelessly. They pored over communication logs, analyzed sensor data, and constructed elaborate scenarios to try and identify the source of the leak. It doesn't make sense, Lina muttered, staring at a holographic web of connections. None of the Alliance races have any clear motive to side with the Krell. They all stand to lose if the Krell expand unchecked. Za-En's tendrils twisted in frustration. Perhaps we are approaching this from the wrong angle. What if the traitor's motives are not political, but personal? Lina's eyes widened as a possibility struck her. Or what if there is no traitor at all? Explain, Za-En prompted, leaning in closer. What if the Krell have technology we don't know about? Lina theorized. Some way of tracking us that we haven't considered. It would explain how they keep finding us, and why we can't pin down a specific leak. Before Za-En could respond, the ship jolted violently. Alarms blared once again, and Lina's heart sank. They raced to the command center to find barely controlled chaos. Multiple Krell warships dropping out of FTL, an officer shouted. They've got us surrounded. The main view screen showed a half-dozen menacing Krell vessels, their weapon ports glowing with charged energy. The captain's voice was tight as he opened a channel. "This is Captain Fellows of the Liriani diplomatic vessel Harmony of Spheres. We are on a peaceful mission and request safe passage." A harsh, guttural voice responded, the neural translator struggling to keep up. "This is Warlord Crag of the Krell Dominion. Your ship harbors a fugitive of the Krell Empire. Surrender the human immediately or be destroyed." A chill ran down Lena's spine. They weren't after Zar-En or the Alliance at all. They were after her. "How is this possible?" Zar-En demanded. How could they even know of Lena's existence? The pieces fell into place in Lena's mind. "My ship," she breathed. "When I rescued you on Kepler 186F, the Krell must have recovered it, found my logs. They know a human interfered with their plans." Captain Fellows' expression was grim. "We will not surrender anyone to the Krell, especially not one who has proven herself an ally." A noble sentiment, Warlord Crag's voice boomed. "But a foolish one. You have one planetary rotation to comply, or we will open fire." As the transmission cut off, a heavy silence fell over the command center. Lena felt the weight of every alien gaze upon her. I'm so sorry," she stammered. "I never meant to put you all in danger like this." Zar-En placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You have nothing to apologize for, Lena Reeves. You saved my life and have fought bravely for our cause. We will not abandon you now." The captain nodded in agreement. "The Krell's demand only proves the value of your presence. They fear the influence humanity might have if introduced to the galactic stage." Lena took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. "All right, then we need a plan. We're outnumbered and outgunned, but we've got one advantage. They don't know much about humans or our capabilities. Maybe we can use that." For the next several hours, Lena worked feverishly with the Liriani crew, devising a desperate gambit. It was risky, borderline insane, but it was their only shot. As the deadline approached, Captain Phalos opened a channel to the Krell fleet. "Warlord Crag, we have considered your demand." The Krell leader's scarred visage filled the screen, and "We refuse," Phalos stated firmly. "Furthermore, we warn you. The human you seek possesses technology beyond your comprehension. If you attack this vessel, you risk destruction on a scale you cannot imagine." Crag's eyes narrowed. "You bluff." Lena stepped into view, her heart pounding but her voice steady. "Am I? You Krell pride yourselves on your military might, but you've never encountered humanity before. Are you really willing to risk everything on the assumption that we're defenseless?" She nodded to a Liriani officer who activated a carefully prepared sensor phantom. To the Krell's instruments, it would appear as if a massive energy buildup was occurring within the harmony of spheres. Crag's expression flickered with uncertainty. "What manner of weapon is this?" "That's classified," Lena replied coolly. "But I'll give you one chance to retreat. After that, well, I hope you've made peace with whatever gods you believe in." Long seconds ticked by as Crag visibly wrestled with the decision. Finally, he snarled, "This isn't over, human. The Krell Dominion does not forget." The transmission cut off, and the Krell ships began to pull away. A cheer went up from the Liriani crew, but Lena couldn't relax just yet. "We need to move now," she urged. "Once they realize it was a bluff, they'll be back with reinforcements." Captain Fellows nodded. "Agreed. All hands, prepare for emergency jump. Let's hope the Zanabi are in a welcoming mood." As the harmony of spheres vanished into FTL, Lena exchanged a weary but triumphant look with Zar-En. They had survived this encounter, but the threat of the Krell now loomed larger than ever. The race to form the Alliance, and potentially bring humanity into the galactic community, had become even more urgent. The next phase of their journey promised even greater challenges, but Lena was ready to face them. She was no longer just an explorer or an accidental diplomat. She had become a symbol of humanity's potential, a beacon of hope in a troubled galaxy. and she was determined to live up to that responsibility, no matter the cost. Quantum diplomacy. The harmony of spheres emerged from its emergency jump in a dazzling nebula of swirling purples and blues. Ahead of them loomed a massive structure that defied conventional physics, the Zanabi Nexus, a space station that existed simultaneously in multiple quantum states. Lena's jaw dropped as she took in the sight. The station seemed to flicker and shift, parts of it fading in and out of existence as she watched. "It's incredible," she breathed. Zar-En nodded, its tendrils waving in appreciation. The Zanabi exist on a level most species can barely comprehend. Their mastery of quantum mechanics allows them to manipulate reality itself. Captain Felos's voice cut through their wonder. "We're being hailed. It seems our arrival has not gone unnoticed." The main view screen flickered to life, showing a being of pure energy, its form constantly shifting and reshaping. When it spoke, it was as if 1,000 voices were speaking in perfect harmony. "Liriani vessel, you enter Zanabi space uninvited and unannounced. Explain yourselves." Zar-En stepped forward, bowing deeply. "Honored Zanabi, I am Zar-En, emissary of the Liriani Concordat. We come seeking sanctuary and assistance. The Alliance talks are in jeopardy, and we have vital information that must be shared." The Zanabi's form pulsed with what might have been curiosity. "We sense an anomaly aboard your vessel, a presence unfamiliar to us." Lena felt a tingling sensation, as if every atom in her body was being scanned. She stepped into view, her heart pounding but her voice steady. "I am Lena Rees of Earth. I'm here to help." There was a long pause as the Zanabi processed this information. Finally, it spoke again. "A human. Fascinating. Your species is unknown to us, yet you radiate potential. Enter, visitors. We will hear your tale." The harmony of spheres was guided to a docking port that seemed to materialize out of nowhere. As they disembarked, Lena felt a momentary disorientation, as if she was in multiple places at once. Zar-En steadied her with a gentle hand. "The transition can be unsettling for non-quantum beings," the Liriani explained. "Focus on your immediate surroundings. It helps." They were led to a vast chamber that seemed to stretch into infinity. Zenobi representatives flitted about, their energy forms a dazzling display of color and motion. Other alien diplomats were present as well, Volux crystals pulsing with bioluminescent messages, and a misty enclosure housing the methane-breathing Kthair. A Zanabi elder, its energy form more complex and intricate than the others, addressed the gathered assembly. "Speak, emissary Zar-En. Share with us the reason for your unexpected arrival." Over the next hour, Zar-En recounted their harrowing journey, the Krell attacks, the narrow escapes, and the looming threat to the Alliance. Lena added her own perspective, explaining her accidental involvement and the apparent Krell interest in humanity. As they spoke, Lena could sense the mood in the chamber shifting. The other diplomats conferred among themselves, their alien expressions unreadable to her. Finally, the Zanabi elder spoke again. "This is grave news indeed. The Krell grow bolder, and now a new species enters the equation. We must deliberate on how to proceed." "There's no time for deliberation," Lena interjected, earning surprised looks from the assembled aliens. "Every moment we delay gives the Krell another opportunity to strike. We need to act now, to show a united front." A Volux crystal flashed rapidly, its message translated for all to hear. "The human speaks out of turn. What authority does she have in these matters?" Lena felt a surge of frustration, but before she could respond, Zar-En stepped forward. "Lena Rees has proven herself a valuable ally. Her unique perspective may be exactly what we need to overcome our differences and forge a lasting alliance." The Kthair representative's misty form swirled agitatedly. Pretty words, but the fact remains, humanity is an unknown quantity. How can we trust that they won't side with the Krell if offered a better deal? "Because we've seen what the Krell are capable of," Lena replied, her voice firm. "They attacked without provocation, threatened peaceful diplomats, and seem hell-bent on dominating the galaxy. That goes against everything humanity stands for. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien voices and signals. The Zanabi Elder raised its energetic appendages, calling for silence. This discussion grows heated. Perhaps a demonstration is in order. Human Lena Rees, would you be willing to undergo the rite of quantum insight? Zal-En's tendrils writhed in alarm. Elder, with all due respect, the rite is dangerous for non-quantum beings. It could destroy her mind. Lena's curiosity was piqued. What exactly is this rite? The Zanabi Elder's form shimmered as it explained. The rite of quantum insight allows one to perceive multiple possible futures simultaneously. It is how we Zanabi make our most crucial decisions. For a linear being such as yourself, the experience would be intense. Lena considered for a moment. The risk was clear, but so was the potential reward. If she could prove humanity's worth and help secure the alliance, it would be worth any personal cost. "I'll do it," she said firmly. Despite Zal-En's protests, preparations for the rite began immediately. Lena was led to a small chamber at the heart of the Zanabi nexus. The walls pulsed with energy, and she could feel reality itself growing thin around her. The Zanabi Elder's voice echoed in her mind. "Focus on the question at hand, human. What future awaits if the alliance succeeds? What doom befalls us if it fails? Let the quantum possibilities flow through you." Lena closed her eyes and concentrated. Suddenly, her consciousness exploded outward. She was everywhere and everywhere at once. She saw a grand assembly of species, Earth among them, working together to explore the farthest reaches of the cosmos. The Krell Armada descending on world after world, leaving only ashes in their wake. Humanity ascending to become guardians of the galaxy, their determination and ingenuity a beacon of hope. Earth isolated and alone, helpless as the Krell slowly encroached on their solar system. A technological renaissance as species shared knowledge, advancing faster than ever before. Endless war, alliances fracturing as each race fought for its own survival. The visions came faster and faster, overwhelming in their intensity. Lena felt her sense of self beginning to fragment, her mind struggling to process the infinite possibilities. Just as she thought she would be lost in the quantum sea forever, she felt a presence. Zal-En, its mind somehow reaching out to hers. Like an anchor in a storm, it helped her focus, pulling her back from the brink. With a gasp, Lena's eyes flew open. She was back in the chamber, shaking and covered in sweat. The assembled diplomats watched her with a mixture of awe and concern. What did you see?" the Zanabi Elder asked, its energy form flickering with anticipation. Lena took a deep breath, centering herself. "I saw everything, every possibility, good and bad. And I know now, more than ever, that we have to stand together. United, we have a chance at a future beyond imagining. Divided, we fall." She locked eyes with each of the alien representatives in turn. "The Krell are counting on our fears and differences to keep us apart, but we can prove them wrong. Humanity may be new to the galactic stage, but we're ready to do our part. We've faced our own challenges, our own brushes with extinction. We know the value of cooperation, of reaching out to those different from ourselves." Lena's voice grew stronger as she continued. "I've seen futures where we achieve wonders together, where we push the boundaries of science and exploration. I've also seen the price of failure, worlds burning, civilizations crumbling. The choice is ours to make, here and now." A hushed silence fell over the chamber as her words sank in. Then slowly, the Volux crystal began to pulse with a warm, approving light. The Cathar mist swirled in what seemed to be a pattern of agreement. The Zanabi Elder's form expanded, filling a room with a soft glow. "The human speaks truth. We have deliberated long enough. It is time to act." Over the next several hours, the diplomats hammered out the details of their alliance. Lena, still reeling from her quantum experience, offered input where she could. Zal-En remained by her side, providing support and context. As the talks concluded, the Zanabi elder addressed Lena directly. "You have shown great courage, Lena Rees of Earth. Your species will be welcomed into the galactic community with open arms, or appendages, as the case may be." Lena managed a tired smile. "Thank you, Elder, but our work is just beginning. The Krell won't take this lying down." As if in response to her words, alarms began blaring throughout the Zanabi nexus. A Zanabi attendant materialized, its form crackling with urgency. "Elder, we've detected a massive Krell fleet entering the system. They're on an attack vector." The chamber erupted in panic. The Zanabi Elder's form pulsed rapidly as it issued orders. "Activate our quantum defenses. Alert all allied ships in the sector." Lena turned to Zar-Ain, her mind racing. "We need to buy time for the Alliance fleet to assemble. Is there any way we can use the Nexus's quantum nature against the Krell?" Zar-Ain's tendrils writhed in thought. "Perhaps, if we could entangle the Krell ships with multiple quantum states, it might confuse their targeting systems." They rushed to the Nexus's control center, a dizzying array of energy fields and probability matrices. The Zanabi operators worked frantically to strengthen their defenses as the Krell fleet drew nearer. Lena studied the tactical displays, an idea forming. What if we don't just confuse them? What if we show them what we saw in the right? The future that awaits if they continue down this path. The Zanabi Elder's form flickered with interest. A quantum vision projected on a massive scale. It's never been attempted, but in theory. "We have to try," Lena insisted. "If we can make even a few of them question their actions, it might give us the edge we need." As the first Krell weapons fire impacted the Nexus's outer defenses, the plan was put into motion. Lena, Zar-Ain, and the Zanabi Elder combined their mental energies, focusing on the visions of the future. A massive quantum field enveloped the Krell fleet. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, one by one, Krell ships began to falter in their attack. Some stopped firing altogether, while others began to retreat. On the main view screen, the face of Warlord Crag appeared, his expression a mix of fury and fear. "What manner of devilry is this? What have you done to my warriors?" Lena stepped forward, her voice steady. "We've shown them the truth, Warlord. The future that awaits if you continue on this path of destruction. It's not too late to choose a different way." Crag's eyes narrowed. "Pretty illusions won't stop the Krell Dominion. Will." His words were cut off as a massive allied fleet dropped out of FTL behind the Krell Armada. Ships of every description, Liriani, Volux, Fair, and more, presented a united front. A new voice came over the comm, strong and clear. "This is Admiral Zena of the Allied Fleet. Krell forces, you are outnumbered and outgunned. Stand down, or be destroyed." Lena held her breath as Crag visibly wrestled with the decision. Finally, his shoulders slumped in defeat. "All Krell ships, stand down. The day is lost." A cheer went up from the assembled diplomats. Lena felt a wave of relief wash over her, though she knew this was just the beginning. There would be negotiations, reparations, and a long road to lasting peace. As the Krell ships were escorted away and the Alliance representatives began discussing next steps, Zar-Ain approached Lena. "You've done it, Lena Rees. You've changed the course of galactic history." Lena shook her head, a tired smile on her face. "We've done it, Zar-Ain. All of us together, and we're just getting started." She gazed out at the starfield, marveling at how far she'd come from that lonely survey mission on Kepler 186 Earth. The universe had turned out to be more vast, more wondrous, and more perilous than she'd ever imagined. But now, humanity would face those wonders and perils not alone, but as part of something greater. The next chapter of galactic history was about to be written, and Lena Rees was ready to play her part. Echoes of Earth. In the months following the Krell surrender, the newly formed Galactic Alliance worked tirelessly to establish a lasting peace. Lena found herself at the center of these efforts, serving as humanity's unofficial ambassador to the stars. Her unique perspective and the respect she'd earned from the other species made her invaluable in navigating the complex web of interstellar politics. But as the immediate crisis passed, a new challenge emerged: how to introduce humanity to the wider galactic community without causing panic or upheaval on Earth. "We can't just land a fleet of alien ships in Times Square," Lena argued during a strategy session with Alliance leaders. "The shock could destabilize our entire civilization." Zar-En, now a permanent liaison to humanity, nodded in agreement. A gradual approach would be wise. "Perhaps we could start by making contact with a select group of human leaders and scientists." The Zanabi elder's form shimmered thoughtfully. "There is another option. Lena Rees, you have proven yourself a worthy representative of your species. What if you were to return to Earth as a herald of what's to come?" Lena's heart raced at the thought. After months in space, the idea of seeing her home planet again was both thrilling and terrifying. I'm not sure I'm qualified for that kind of responsibility." On the contrary, a Volux diplomat chimed in, its crystal form pulsing with warm light. "You've faced the unknown with courage and adaptability. Who better to help your people take their first steps into a larger universe?" After much debate, a plan was formed. Lena would return to Earth aboard a small, stealthily designed Alliance vessel. She would make initial contact with key world leaders and scientific institutions, paving the way for official first contact. As preparations were made for her journey, Lena found herself growing increasingly anxious. She sought out Zar-En, needing the comfort of her closest alien friend. "What if I mess this up?" she confided as they stood in the Harmony of Spheres observation deck, watching distant stars. "The fate of humanity's integration into the galactic community rests on my shoulders." Zar-En's tendrils gently wrapped around Lena's hand in a gesture of support. "You won't be alone, Lena Reeves. I will accompany you to Earth to provide assistance and serve as a living example of the wonders that await humanity among the stars." Lena's eyes widened. "You do that. Leave behind everything you know to come to my world." "Of course," Zar-En replied, its silver eyes shimmering with warmth. "You did the same for me, did you not? Our journey together is far from over." The day of departure arrived all too soon. As Lena and Zar-En boarded their sleek diplomatic vessel, christened the Starbridge, Alliance representatives from a dozen species gathered to bid them farewell. The Zanabi elder's voice resonated in their minds. "Remember, the future you witnessed in the quantum right is not set in stone. Your actions now will shape the destiny of not just humanity, but all our peoples. Go with our hopes and our trust." As the Starbridge slipped into FTL, leaving the Alliance space behind, Lena felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. They emerged from FTL at the edge of the Sol system, and Lena's breath caught in her throat at the sight of the familiar planets. "There it is," she whispered, pointing to the blue marble of Earth as it came into view. "Home." Zar-En studied the planet with fascination. "It's beautiful, Lena. I see now where your species' resilience and spirit come from." Their approach was cautious, using advanced cloaking technology to avoid detection by Earth's primitive, by galactic standards, sensors. They entered the atmosphere under cover of night, heading for a remote location where Lena could make her first contact. As they touched down in a secluded clearing, Lena took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. She activated a secure communication device provided by the Alliance. "This is Lena Reeves, calling United Nations Secretary General. Authentication code Sierra Echo Tango India. The stars have aligned. I repeat, the stars have aligned." For several tense moments, there was only static. Then a shocked voice responded. "This is Secretary General Adayemi. Lena Rees, you were presumed dead months ago. Where are you? What's happening?" Lena exchanged a glance with Zar-En before replying. "Madam Secretary, I'm on Earth, and I'm not alone. Humanity is about to take its first steps into a much larger universe. I need to meet with you and other world leaders immediately. The fate of our species hangs in the balance." What followed was a whirlwind of clandestine meetings, hushed explanations, and barely contained excitement. Lina and Zar-En met with heads of state, top scientists, and military leaders from around the world. They shared evidence of the wider galactic community, explained the recent conflict with the Krell, and outlined humanity's potential place in the alliance. Reactions ranged from wonder to skepticism to outright fear. But as days turned to weeks, the consensus began to form. Earth would cautiously embrace its new role in the galaxy, but the transition needed to be carefully managed to avoid global panic. A plan was devised to gradually introduce the concept of alien life to the public. It would start with mysterious astronomical discoveries, followed by increasingly overt signs of extraterrestrial intelligence. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Earth's governments and scientific communities would work closely with Alliance representatives to prepare for full integration. As the plan was set in motion, Lina found herself thrust into the global spotlight. She became the face of humanity's journey to the stars, giving carefully scripted interviews and public addresses. It was a role she had never imagined for herself, but one she embraced with determination. One evening, as she and Zar-En watched the sun set over the Pacific Ocean, Lina reflected on how far they'd come. It's really happening, she mused. Humanity is taking its first real steps into the cosmic community. Zar-En's tendrils waved gently in the ocean breeze. Indeed, and it is only the beginning. There will be challenges ahead, but I have faith in your species' ability to adapt and thrive. Lina smiled, feeling a surge of pride and hope for the future. Together, she said, taking Zar-En's hand. We'll face whatever comes next, together. A new dawn. 5 years had passed since Lina Rees returned to Earth with news that would forever change human history. The process of integrating humanity into the galactic community had been slow but steady, marked by moments of breathtaking wonder and nail-biting tension. Today was the culmination of those years of preparation. In capitals around the world, people gathered in anticipation. Holographic projectors, a gift from the Alliance, had been set up in major cities across the globe. In a few moments, the first official delegation from the Galactic Alliance would arrive on Earth in full view of the world. Lina stood on a specially constructed platform in New York's Central Park, flanked by world leaders and dignitaries. Zar-En was by her side, as always, a living symbol of the friendship between species that was now possible. As the appointed time drew near, Lina addressed the crowd and the billions watching via global broadcast. People of Earth, 5 years ago, I returned from a journey beyond imagination. I brought with me news of a universe teeming with life, with civilizations both wondrous and terrifying. Today, we take our place among those civilizations, not as conquerors or subjects, but as partners and friends. A hush fell over the crowd as a shimmering light appeared in the sky above. Slowly, majestically, a massive Alliance diplomatic vessel descended. Its organic curves and pulsing energy fields were unlike anything most humans had ever seen outside of carefully released footage. As the ship touched down, a hatch opened, and representatives from a dozen alien species emerged. The Lyriani with their flowing tendrils, the crystalline volux, the misty forms of the Cathar in their atmospheric bubbles, and even a Zanabi elder, its energy form carefully contained for the comfort of the other species. The alien delegates approached the platform, and Lina stepped forward to greet them. On behalf of humanity and the planet Earth, we welcome you to our world. The Zanabi elder's voice resonated in the minds of all present, and on behalf of the Galactic Alliance, we thank you for your welcome. Today marks a new chapter in the history of not just Earth, but our entire galaxy. What followed was a ceremony that would be remembered for generations. The Alliance Charter was formally extended to include Earth, with human representatives taking their place alongside the other species. Treaties were signed, technology exchanges were initiated, and the first steps were taken towards humanity's fuller integration into galactic society. As the ceremony concluded and the crowds began to disperse, Lina found a quiet moment with Zar-En. "We did it," she said, her voice filled with wonder. "It still doesn't feel quite real." Zar-En's tendrils rippled with amusement. "Oh, it's very real, Lena Reeves. And the real work is only just beginning." Lena nodded, knowing her friend was right. The next few decades would be crucial as humanity adapted to its new role in the galaxy. There would be challenges aplenty, cultural misunderstandings to navigate, technological leaps to manage, and the ever-present threat of those who feared change. But there would also be wonders beyond imagining. Already, plans were underway for the first human colonies on distant worlds. Earth's scientists were collaborating with alien counterparts, making breakthroughs that would have once seemed like magic. And a new generation was growing up with the knowledge that the stars were not just distant lights, but beacons of adventure and possibility. As the sun began to set on this historic day, Lena and Zar-En made their way to a quiet rooftop overlooking the city. The first stars were becoming visible in the darkening sky. "What happens now?" Lena asked, her gaze fixed on the heavens. Zar-En's voice was thoughtful. "Now we continue to grow, to learn, to explore. The Alliance faces challenges. Remnants of the Krell Empire still cause trouble in distant sectors, and there are always new mysteries to unravel. But we face them together, stronger for our diversity." Lena smiled, feeling a familiar surge of excitement. "You know, I never thought I'd say this, but I'm starting to miss the adventure out there. Don't get me wrong, helping humanity adjust to all this has been incredible. But you long to see what's beyond the next star." Zar-En finished, a knowing tone in its voice. "As it happens, I've been speaking with Alliance Command. They're assembling a new expedition, a joint effort to explore uncharted regions of the galaxy. They've asked if we would be interested in joining." Lena's eyes widened. "Are you serious? That sounds amazing. But what about our responsibilities here?" Zar-En's tendrils waved dismissively. "The foundations have been laid. Earth has capable leaders to guide it through the next stages of integration. Perhaps it's time for us to return to where our journey began, out there among the stars." As Lena considered the proposal, a shooting star streaked across the sky. She closed her eyes, making a silent wish. Not for herself, but for the continued growth and prosperity of the unlikely alliance of species she now called family. Opening her eyes, she turned to Zar-En with a grin. "When do we leave?" Epilogue. 6 months later, a sleek Alliance exploration vessel prepared to depart Earth orbit. On the bridge stood a team that represented the very best of what the galactic community could be, humans working alongside a variety of alien species, all united in their quest for knowledge and understanding. At the helm stood Lena Reeves, older and wiser than the young surveyor who had once crash-landed on a desolate planet. Beside her was Zar-En, its silver eyes gleaming with excitement for the journey ahead. As the ship's engines hummed to life, Lena addressed her crew. "When I first left Earth, I thought I was embarking on a simple survey mission. Instead, I found a galaxy full of wonders and dangers, allies and enemies. Our journey showed me that the greatest strength we have is not in our technology or our individual abilities, but in our capacity to work together to bridge the gaps between us." She gestured to the view screen, where Earth slowly receded from view. "We carry the hopes of our peoples with us. Every discovery we make, every challenge we overcome, will be another step towards a brighter future for all." As the ship prepared to jump to FTL, Lena exchanged a smile with Zar-En. They had come so far together, from reluctant rescuer and wounded alien to the closest of friends and partners in galactic diplomacy. Now, a new chapter of their adventure was about to begin. "Ready for what comes next?" Lena asked. Zar-En's tendrils curled in anticipation. "Always, Lena Reeves. The universe awaits." With a flash of light and a surge of energy, the ship vanished into the depths of space. Behind it, Earth continued its own journey of growth and transformation. And across the galaxy, countless beings looked to the stars with a new sense of unity and purpose. The story of humanity's entry into the galactic community was far from over. In fact, it had only just begun. But thanks to the courage, compassion, and determination of those who had bridged the gap between worlds, the future shone brighter than ever before. As Lena had learned on that fateful day so long ago, sometimes the greatest adventures begin with a single act of kindness. And in a universe as vast and wondrous as theirs, there would always be new horizons to explore, new friendships to forge, and new ways to showcase the very best of what it means to be human, and what it means to be part of something greater than ourselves. The end and a new beginning.